Hey guys, welcome back. It's Charles and Z, and we've got another car talk for you, but we're going to try to throw some pictures in here to make it a little bit not just in the car. The title of this video, don't think that it's about us running around in the street with our 3 kids. We did sell our house, and we're going to talk about all the stuff that's happened since then. We do not have a house at this point, and a lot has happened in the last 3 weeks of our lives.
It's been a ride. We are still on the ride, and so we just kind of want to update you guys a little bit on our, I'm gonna call it adventure, right? But before we get into it, as we always start off with saying, like and subscribe down below. Our family on YouTube is growing and growing, and we love it. We absolutely love it. But I'm gonna let you start off with this adventure.
As you guys know, we started building a house 8 months ago. That house is going to be done in August. We put the house that we were living in on the market back in like March, and we sold it, but the people who we sold it to wanted us to be out by June 23rd. And so it's like 6-7 weeks ish before we can actually occupy the house that we're building. So we did it because like this market today is not what it was back in 2017, the last time I sold a house.
What was the time frame from when we got the offer to when we had to be out the house?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
It was 3 weeks. So yeah, so we got the offer back in like the beginning of June, like the very beginning of June, and we had to be out by June 23rd. So we had to scramble, guys.
Like Charles was saying, we were not expecting to be out that quick, but we were happy to sell the house.
Yeah.
And this is a house that is occupied. We got 3 kiddos, right? A 2-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old. There's Charles and I. We are fortunate to have a helper with our kiddos who lives with us.
Kind of a nanny.
Correct. And my father-in-law also lives with us too. So it is a full house with a lot of stuff, okay? We thought that we were being smart, knowing that we had to be out so quick, that we were gonna hire some movers, right? You wanna talk about our movers?
Sure. So our realtor recommended a moving company, and these dudes showed up the first time to help box some of our stuff up. And they're like, hey, we work for this company, but we also do our own thing. And if you hire us directly, like not through the company, then we're gonna like do it for a fraction of the price.
We got a deal for you.
Yeah.
And we like a deal.
And we don't have like a whole bunch of family heirlooms or anything like that. So, you know, it's not super valuable. So we're like, all right, whatever. So anyway, we hired our Wildcat movers, right? And
Wildcat movers.
The Wildcat movers, which actually it turned out pretty good because the way we moved, we had to move a lot of our stuff into storage, and so we ended up having them come like a total of 4 or 5 times to move like little bits of stuff out, like some stuff going to the donate, some stuff going to storage, and some stuff going, in boxes to go to our rental. So we kind of had them come out in little bits and pieces, which actually turned out to be pretty good.
It was good, but it was that final weekend. So we had to be out of the house on what day?
On Tuesday.
On a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so, we had the grand idea. We've been moving slowly. And then on that weekend before that we had to be out, we had scheduled to have the movers come on the Saturday and Sunday.
Yep.
And so here comes a Saturday. We thought we had a big moving day ahead of us. They're supposed to be there at 10. It's 10:30, no movers. 11 o'clock, no movers. 11:30, Charles was like, hey, are you sure they're supposed to come up? And I looked back at my text, I said, yep. They said they're gonna be there 10 a.m. on this date at, this time. And so I said, let me give them a little text, just say, what's the ETA? We
were used to them being late, by the way. They would say 10 and they would come at 11. That was like kind of their standard operating.
Yeah, it's their MO. We give them a little wiggle room, but hour and a half, 2, and this is the final weekend of moving. I just want to make sure you still plan on coming. And so I text, hey, just want to verify you guys are still on the way. No pressure, just, we're here. Oh, not coming, but we think we can move y'all tomorrow. And like I told you, this is a full house. We got a lot of stuff, right? And I mean, we were kind of their mercy, right?
We can't hire movers on the last day.
No, not in that last for the amount of stuff that we had. So we thought, hey, okay, although we're a little panicked, but we're going to try to really get the house together and boxed up on the Saturday.
So we packed.
So we packed, right? Or tried to pack, right? While managing our kiddos and all of that. Sunday comes, yes, they showed up, yay, right? And you know what? We were making good progress, I think, with a lot of stuff. How would you say the Sunday went?
Crazy. It was crazy. We worked from 8 o'clock in the morning until about 10 o'clock at night, boxing and moving and dumping, and we were still not close to done. So luckily, they were able to come back on Monday. So Monday I take off from work because we're going to work all day Monday, and they show up. They show up Monday at 10 a.m. and we start working Monday 10 a.m. Okay, me and these two dudes, and we didn't finish moving stuff out of the house until 1 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. It was
a long process.
and now the closing, the final walkthrough with our buyers was 7:45 a.m. on Tuesday. So our realtor actually came out, and bless her heart, she came out at 3 o'clock p.m. on the Monday, and she worked with me until 5 a.m. On Tuesday morning to get the house ready for the final walkthrough.
Was it until 5 a.m. Tuesday morning?
It was until 5 a.m. Tuesday. She and I were scrubbing refrigerators out. We were dusting cobwebs out of the garage. And it was until 5 a.m. The 5 a.m. I moved the last of our stuff over to the rental house in our little car. And I remember that because it was plants. It was these planties, and I was holding on to them. In the back seat of the car.
Appreciate it. Can't forget the planties.
So we finished up with the house at 5 o'clock a.m. and the buyers, their final walkthrough was at 7:45 a.m. on the 23rd. So that was us getting out of the house.
So nerves frayed, but we got through the process, right? And because our new house is not ready, we moved into one of two of our Airbnbs, right? And it's the best. Go ahead.
Can I? Sorry to interrupt. Can I tell the story about getting the Airbnbs?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So we started beginning of June, lining up Airbnbs for the 6-7 weeks that we were going to be renting. We found one that we're going to be able to get for the whole time, and we put in and we rented it. And now, granted, like 6-7 weeks, that's like a lot of money for a house that's big enough to fit 6 people. And so we got it, we paid for it, good reviews and all that. But then it gives us the address, and I look at the address, and the address it's right on the busiest road in our area. And when we saw the address, I actually knew the house because I've driven by the house, and I've often thought, I can't believe they built a house there. Because that house, like the driveway, literally comes out onto an extremely busy four-lane road.
Yeah.
And so I messaged the host, and I'm like, hey, I'm really sorry. We just rented your house for 6-7 weeks. And we can't do it because we have 3 kids, and they're going to die at your house. They're going to run out in the street. And so I've got to give a big shout out to Airbnb customer service, because Airbnb customer service really helped us work all this stuff out. So initially we got a refund of the full amount that we paid. Then we started looking for another Airbnb. We couldn't find one to rent for the whole time. So we got one for the first 2 weeks, and then we got another one for the remaining time. And the guy from the first Airbnb comes back, and he's like, hey, I have this other house that has a pool. And he's like, and so we look at the listing and it looks great. It's not on a busy street. And he's like, do you want me to just take your money and move it over to apply to that house? And so we're like, sure. And so he takes the money and applies it to that house. And then Airbnb comes back and says, we owe like this amount of money, which was a lot more. And come to find out that the price had changed. So the house was the house, whereas you rent for 4 weeks for this amount of money, he'd said, okay, this amount that we were paying for 6 weeks for the other house now only counted for 4 weeks at that house. And which was completely not the price that it was online. Anyway, long story short, we got everything resolved with Airbnb. We got the house for the right price. Can't say enough good things about Airbnb customer service. They were kind of like with me every step of the way and followed up to make sure that that was good. So anyway, big shout out to them. So we got our rentals, and go ahead. We move into our first one.
So the first Airbnb, right? And it was cute, right? The only thing with that Airbnb, I would say, it was able to accommodate all of our kids, right? And us. And it had a nice little patio, and the kids loved fishing in the backyard.
It was on a lake.
It was at a lake, right? But we had an enclosed little screened area too, so the kids can't just go straight into the water. And we had a lot of intimate, I felt like, dinners there. It was kind of nice being...
Yeah, we were always on the patio.
Correct. Like not watching TV a lot of times. But the one drawback was the house across from us had about 25,000 cars.
Yep.
Okay.
And there were and it always had to have 2 or 3 cars in the street.
Correct. And especially for me, because I work outside the house Monday to Friday, trying to wiggle, so to speak, my car around these cars. A lot of times I had to call Charles, right? He's a little expert driver, to see how we can kind of wiggle our way around these cars, because they always had cars kind of blocking us in at some point of our driveway.
Yeah.
And I don't know, how do you feel about that?
Oh, it was a pain, especially loading the kids up and stuff, because I would have to like shift the cars around in our driveway, and a lot of the time the cars across the street were parked such that I couldn't even back out of the driveway. I'd have to like move our cars in the driveway to get to a point where I could back them out of the driveway, and then you put them in the street, and there's only like one lane that you could travel going down the street because you've got cars on either side of the street, and so it was just, you end up doing crazy things like having to back up in the middle of the street to let other people come by.
I'm driving on the lawn. I probably wasn't supposed to do this, but I'm driving on the lawn sometimes to get in or back out if I couldn't get Charles. But it really was ridiculous, the amount of cars that they had for the size house or driveway. I get it, maybe every now and then you have one car in the driveway, but it literally was 25,000 cars in the road right by the driveway. So that was my only, I think, negative. I think your other thing was you didn't like the creaking. You didn't like the steps.
Oh, the steps. Oh my gosh. So it was, the house was 2 stories. What's that?
Oh, I was like, where are we going to?
Oh, I'm just making a circle.
Okay.
So
You're not going by the place, the new house?
Oh, you want me to go by the new house?
Yeah, that's what we said.
Is it what we said?
Yeah.
We don't have time. It's 6:41.
Okay.
Here, I'll go. We never said we were going to go by the new house.
Yes, you did. Earlier. It's like we do videos, like I take you by the new house. Y'all getting the real inside.
It's going to be like 7:30 before we get back to our house with the kids. And then they're going to go sleep at 9. And then you're going to yell at me.
I'm going to run it anyway, because we do a game anyway of them.
They didn't do nothing on the house today.
Zombie game.
They didn't do anything on the house today.
How do you know?
Anyway.
How much you guys want to bet there's something new in the house?
I'm going to cut all this out.
He's not going to cut it, because this is real conversation. Anyway.
So the stairs at the first rental house, the first Airbnb, the stairs, every time all the bedrooms were on the second floor. All the bedrooms where the kids were and where we were. And every time you stepped on a step, it goes. And so you can't sneak around anywhere. And, as parents, it's important to sneak.
And it's not so bad, I think, with the older kids, our 8 and our 9-year-old, but our 2-year-old, once we get him to go to sleep, like, we want him to stay asleep because he's still in that wake up, I want mama, I want daddy phase. So I don't want any type of disturbance, okay? But the way, and I know this sounds like first world problems, and it probably is, but the way these steps would crickety crackety creak, I was over it. And no matter if you're on your tiptoes, not even if we tried to be strategic, and Charles was like, well, if you go on the edge, close to the rail, hold on, under your tiptoe, it doesn't matter. Creak, crack, creak, crack, creak, crack.
Z and the older kids actually made a game out of it that the older kids really liked. They would take turns walking up the stairs, and they would see who could make it up the stairs and make them creak the least number of times. And so there was like a stair walking tournament every night.
Hey, I mean, you got to make lemonade from lemons.
I thought it was pretty nice.
Right, that's the thing. And so the kids started enjoying it, right? So it was an annoyance of all of us, but we made it a game, and it was fun for everybody. So why not?
So that was our first house, which we were only there for 2 weeks. And then a week ago, we moved into our second Airbnb. And tell them a little bit about the second Airbnb. How's it different?
So I call our little 1970s ranch, okay? Just a 1-story home, so no worries, no steps, no crickety crack, crickety crack. A little dated, but it's nice because it has a nice backyard. It has a place for the kids to swim. It's got
a pool.
Yep. That was the first thing. Kids jumped in it, and that warmed my heart because it could be a lot jumping from place to place, right? And I'm always concerned about them feeling as if they have no home, like they're a little displaced.
Yeah.
But the first thing they wanted to know, can they jump in the pool? And they went at it.
They didn't even ask. They just jumped in the pool.
Yeah, they probably didn't even ask. They just went into the pool. And that really warmed my heart because they were enjoying the house. Now, like I said, it's a little antique-ish is what I would call it, right? The kitchen's a little dated, but it has all the things that we need. And I kind of like the layout of it a little bit better. We have a big driveway. We do. No 25,000 cars, right? That's an upgrade. Now, talking about how dated it is, right? I think we came back from looking at the new house, actually. And, walking through the door, and then we heard...
Oh, it was crazy. I thought a plane had crashed into the top of the house.
But he's not kidding, okay? No. And I'm like, is everyone okay? Like, where's the sound coming from? Is everyone okay? And so it came down, the sound came from the hallway by the bathroom. And so I see the door close, and I don't see our nanny or a kiddo, so I'm knocking, is everyone okay? And I hear our nanny say, no. And I see our son.
That's what she sounds like.
I see our son, and he's just looking like, and the nanny's like, I don't know what happened. And so I peeped my little, put my head a little bit further in, and there's literally a million pieces of shattered glass.
I'm going to put up the pictures.
The glass door
of the shower
just shattered. Right?
All over the bathroom, everywhere. First thing in my mind, I'm so happy our son he had a little, I think, nick in his foot. Yeah.
But other than that, he was okay. Because he was, I think, just coming out the shower when he tried to close the door, and splickety, splackety, splickety. And...
Oh, by the way, this shower, sorry not to interrupt.
Go ahead.
This shower is a shower stall. And so it doesn't have like a sliding door that's on a track. It has a door that's kind of on a hinge. And that door always looked sus to me. Like
it was a little janky.
It seemed like every time I take a shower in it and I closed it, it would close a little differently.
Yeah.
Like you could tell that it was kind of moving around a little bit. So in retrospect, I should have probably said something.
Yeah, that is a good point. If you guys do a rental or Airbnb, if you think, I can live with this little jankiness, you never know what's going to happen. Take a picture of it, document. But anyway, what was your thoughts in regards to that?
Well, first off, I was like, thank God our son's okay.
Correct.
Because it was 20 pounds of tempered glass that
Yeah.
that just exploded in there, and all he has is like a little tiny abrasion on his foot, where he tried to like step out of the bathroom and he caught just like a little shard. So
Yeah.
so thank God that was the way it was. And then so I went to the Airbnb app and I messaged our host and I took a picture of it and I said, "Oops, we've had an accident."
Is that what you said?
Yes, yes.
He can't stand you.
I know, but I suggested, hey, I could just go to Walmart and I could get a tension rod and a shower curtain. We could put the shower back up in business. And he showed up. I guess he was on his way back home from work or whatever, and he showed up in like 15 minutes at our front door, and he had like all the stuff to clean up the glass, and we worked together, and we got that fixed, and we got a new shower curtain up, and we got the shower back up and running last night. So that actually worked out okay.
Yeah, I mean, so little snafu, in the grand scheme of things. I guess my thought too, if we couldn't get that fixed, were we going to be down to just one bathroom, right?
That's the only bad thing about
Yeah.
this house, or I mean, probably the worst thing about this house is the fact that it only has 2 bathrooms. It has an in-suite bathroom on the primary bedroom, which we gave to our nanny because
Yeah.
we're like the most amazing host parents ever. No, actually, I'm so glad we did, because I would feel so horrible if she had to share a bathroom with our kids. So we're sharing a bathroom with our kids already. So 3 kids and us, one bathroom, and so with the shower door exploding, that threatened to put that bathroom out of commission, and so we were down to 1 bathroom for a period of time with 6 people, and that was trying.
That's a lot, right? And especially
Yeah.
with someone who's not, she works with our family, she loves our kiddos, but it's trying with someone who's not, family, to have them share the space with, all of your kiddos.
Correct.
And you. That's just a lot.
And that's not what she signed up for with us anyway.
Correct. Now, back in the day, I was telling Charles, when I was a kid, we had a lot of people, we all had to share about, so, but it's hard.
But you're all family though.
Correct. And it's harder now that I'm an adult and this bathroom has a little weird configuration. It's not the most, what's the word? It's not conducive to accommodating, our family size.
It's not like the Four Seasons.
Yeah, but we make it work. Like I said, first
Yeah.
world problems, and we're going through it. So it's working for us, right? It gives us a roof over our head, so we are thankful.
Absolutely.
So by no means take it that we are complaining.
No.
We're just kind of letting you know a little bit of what we perceive as our little bit of struggles.
It's a little struggle for us.
Yeah, in our transition, right? As we're going through this renting, moving, building process.
And the other story, the other thing I got to talk about is baby man's sleep regression, being displaced, being in the Airbnbs. Baby man, our 2-year and 3-month-old baby man. He's been waking up routinely sometime between 12:30 and like 3:30 in the morning.
It's been lovely.
And then he stays up anywhere from like an hour to an hour and a half at a time. And
he cries.
Yeah.
He sings. He does the ABCs. Granted, some of this was going on before he moved. I wonder if he felt the change. Yeah,
maybe.
because we started to like slowly move like the living room things out. So I wonder, I don't know if I'm reading too much into it. He can start feeling the change coming.
Well, the other thing is we've got him rooming with our oldest boy, because that's something that we're going to do in the new house. He and our oldest son, they're best friends, and they get along great. And he's wanted to share a room with baby man for a long time.
Yes.
So in the new house, we're going to get them bunk beds and we're going to let them share a room. So we decided we'd go ahead and practice, because like right now in this house, we actually don't have enough bedrooms for everybody to have their own room. So baby man is in with our oldest son. and so we feel bad because he's getting woken up when baby man wakes up, and but he's been a real sport about it.
He
I
has.
asked him this morning, and I'm like, hey, is it okay? Him still sleeping in there? He's like, oh yeah, it's no problem. So he's been like a really good sport about it.
And see, I would let him cry, but I think I feel bad for our oldest son if I would just let him cry and like wake him up and disrupt his sleep. But I'm surprised that our oldest hasn't been like, get him out of here, right? Because he 3 a.m., 4 a.m., he's on ABCs.
Yeah.
He is mama, mama. He is just going at it. He's singing. I think our last night, I think my baby's a soprano. Like he was. And I'm here in the next room. I don't go in the room because if I go in there, I feel like
he wants to nurse.
Yes, right. And
so I usually go in.
Correct. And he's not full time. He just nurses for what's the word for
soothing.
For soothing.
Comfort.
Yeah, my baby he's not getting no real nutrients from me. And I probably should stop that because he's a whole baby man, meaning he's almost my height in that regard.
He'd be like 10 years old. And
but
be
I
like
just
grabbing
love, sir. Anyway, this moving process, is it what you expected?
Honestly, I didn't let myself have any expectations because it was just so. I knew it was going to be crazy. I knew that whatever I imagined it to be, that it was going to be that and more. And so I actually didn't form any expectations about it. I knew it was going to be the most displacing, disorienting thing that we've had to go through. But it was the right decision because this market today in 2026 is not the same as the market in 2017, the last time that I was involved selling a house. Back then you'd put your house on the market and there's like 3 offers on it, and people are like trying to outbid each other. Well, today that doesn't happen. Today you have to like drop your price, and it's very difficult. And so when we got an offer, the fact that that we had to move out, we had to sell the house out from underneath ourselves, and kind of go on the lam for 6-7 weeks. That didn't seem like a big. It seemed like a good trade-off just to get the certainty of selling the house. You know what I mean? And even now that like everything is super crazy, I still wouldn't go back and undo it because I don't know, we could still be sitting in there trying to sell the house.
Yeah. And it was just stressful, the selling process. So I don't regret it. Now, I'm of the type, I try to prepare myself mentally for the hard journey. And although as much as I researched, I knew it was going to be difficult, I'm still surprised how difficult it has been, right? I think we're doing really well. I think our kids, despite it all and being, displaced, I guess you can say, have done really well.
Yeah.
Despite it all, having to go to a new school, they're not in the same neighborhood with a lot of their friends. I think they've done really, really well.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of glad that we see the light, like we're nearing towards the end of that process. And I think that gives me some comfort.
Yeah.
When we moved into the second home, I was telling you that I was feeling a little depressed-ish. I don't know. It was just, I was tired of moving. It was another place that I had to try to get comfortable with and clean. And I was just in my feelings at that time. And I'm kind of glad that the end is very, very near. Yep. But anyway, let us know if you guys have moved or in the process of moving. What has your experience been? What advice do you have for us? What do you have to add, my love?
Please be sure to like and subscribe. We come out with new videos every week, and we are so thankful for our audience here on this channel.
Yes.
You guys.